with everything else going on that we have to talk about today, I think we'll have plenty to do.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, I've never seen either of the Blair Witch movies.
I haven't. Ironically enough, I own the first one, haven't seen it. Don't own the second one, and I've seen it.
Oh, that's funny.
The second one was, I mean, it was okay. It was kind of, your somewhat generic. It was made not in any way to be like the first one. It kind of continued the storyline, but it wasn't like the whole, like, this is made by documentary filmmakers in the woods and it's real shaky and all that. It was made like a normal movie.
Yeah.
And it was okay.
I just remember how many people thought that the Blair Witch Project was real. Like, they thought that it was actually what happened to these people.
Right. Of course, the same thing kind of went back around whenever they did, what was it, Paranormal Activity. There was a lot of speculation on that one, too, at first.
Oh, I don't remember that. But, I mean, I remember Paranormal Activity. I don't remember the idea that stuff was believed.
Well, I don't think they tried as hard to make it seem real in Paranormal Activity. I think they're just stupid people.
That may be.
They say it isn't real, but it could have been. How awesome would that be? It's like, I heard it was real.
I have a very good friend of mine who is 100% convinced that we did not land on the moon. Mm-hmm. That it was all trickery.
Yeah, all done on a soundstage.
And I'm like, the president can't do anything in his Oval Office without it being plastered all over the place. And you want to think that people can keep a secret about not actually landing on the moon? You know, it's the same thing with all the Area 51 nut jobs. It's like, honestly, if there were aliens at Area 51, you really think we could keep it a secret this long?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I hear that.
So, yeah.
But it's intellectuals like us that keep the facade alive.
Well, right, exactly. My.
Mamma mia.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Except, actually, I was thinking, Mamma mia, let me go.
Oh. Go.
Beelzebub has the devil put aside for me.
But first, let me take a selfie.
So it was awesome getting to hang out with scientists.
Yeah, you suck. Seriously, though, they drove within half an hour of my house, but it was like it had to have been the middle of the night.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. They got to the studio. I had a dentist appointment that morning. I had to go get my 6-month cleaning, and then I was on my way to the studio when Tim texted me and said, "Oh, they just got here, so whenever you're ready, come on down." I'm like, "I'm working on it, man. Doing the best I can."
Yeah.
So I got there, and they had pretty much already taken over the studio, which was awesome.
Nice.
And so I met them all. I didn't meet all of them. There was one that did not come with them. I guess he's a radio DJ back home, or works for a radio station back home, and something was going on that he had to stay back. So they were traveling as a 3-piece.
Interesting.
This time. So I met Jesse, Brandon, and Michael. And they're all super nice guys. Michael is like Mr. Wallflower.
Yeah.
You know,
interesting.
Just really quiet. Didn't really say a whole lot at all.
Right.
But apparently they did listen to the episode we did about telling bands like what to do, what not to do, and that kind of stuff. And they were like, "You guys were a little harsh, but it's the kind of stuff that needs to be heard."
Right.
So, you know, it was good in that way. Definitely.
Cool. Well, that's good. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of Darwinian, as sad as that is to say on a Christian podcast. But, you know, I mean, there is a certain amount of, you know, they're the people who will make it are the ones who really want to make it and will figure out a way to make it.
Well, and that's the, you know, there's no formula to it either. Like we've discussed in the past. It's like Viridia. Okay. They were Don't Wake Aislinn before. and not really a whole lot said about them.
Right.
They disband, kind of redo things a little bit, and suddenly they've got this all-star lineup doing their production, and everything's just kind of firing on all cylinders, and
now they have a number one song.
exactly. They continue to climb the charts and everything. It's like, what's the magic formula? Well, there isn't one. If there was a magic formula, everyone would be popular, and everyone, it'd be nearly impossible to determine whose music was better than whose, and the charting system would kind of be useless because everybody would have a number one hit.
Right.
Yep. So it was interesting. They enjoyed it. So I guess when they're doing really long drives, they'll download an episode or so and check us out.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I like those boys. They're sweet. They got that Southern gentleman thing going on there.
Oh my goodness, Jesse's so funny, dude. He's constantly doing that. You say something that he agrees with. Come on. It cracked me up. We'd be talking and just, we'd say something that he was in total agreement with. Come on. It was definitely a very Southern thing,
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm sure you understand it being from Texas yourself.
Uh-huh. That's right.
Yeah. So it was nice.
Yeah, of course, all you got to do is watch King of the Hill for a few episodes and you can get it down pretty pat, but still.
Yeah, that's one I have not decided to dive into.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it will take you a while to get why it's funny, but people in Texas, after they get a couple of episodes in, they're like, oh, I know so many people who are exactly like this. The system is down. System is down. The system is down.
Bum 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 bum. Oh man, can you believe it?
So good.
Yeah, my favorite.
You got cooking up in that kitchen, cooking fried chicken. Everything you cook is so good.
Oh man, so many good things. So many good things. Come on, iTunes, open. There we go. I guess Kirk is on a field trip with his son to Pizza Hut.
At 9 a.m.?
Well, he doesn't live in California. He's in Tennessee.
Okay, I don't understand how that makes a difference, but okay.
Well, it's not 9 a.m. in Tennessee.
Oh, that's right. It's 11. Right. Sorry. I'm thinking all like, do they not have Pizza Hut in Tennessee?
Oh, man, that was the best. And we got it on video, too.
And what's sad is I had to deal with time differences all the time, and it still went, meow.
Oh, man, that's too funny, dude. I love it. I love it.
I don't, but that's okay.
Oh, man.
I will never live it down. Never, ever, ever, ever.
Hey, stupid! I bought you this stuff.
Yeah.
This does not look good for Homestar Runner.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's what I'm talking about. That was
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, I can check it out. I'm buying you a pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, indubitably. Indubitably.
Oh man. Too much fun.
Yes, too much monster early in the morning, too.
Don't you talk to me.
Shut your mouth, Willis.
Don't you talk to me.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I know. Can you believe it?
No. No, I can't.
Oh, we have too much fun on this show.
I like you,
Yo,
Tom.
can you believe it?
No.
Paul equals awesome. Or
That's
whoever
right.
that
Paul
was.
does equal awesome. Thank you, Tom.
I'm not sure what Tom's referring to be honest.
Hey,
Which part is the awesome part? Maybe
all of it. The whole package is awesome. What are you talking about?
Maybe we should ask him to clarify, quantify.
Yeah, we're just doing pre-show stuff and being goofy. No. We're broadcasting, though.
We're streaming live.
Yeah, we're streaming live. Do you want to peek in and say hi? No? My wife is going, I hear random noises coming from the studio. What is going on? Oh. She was like, I thought. Yeah. We were doing the. Yeah. She goes, I know.
This
Home
does
star
not look
runner
good
waits for no man.
Homestar Runner.
After all, the key to having a great animated figure is to have some sort of odd, subtle speech impediment.
Yes.
Just ask Warner Brothers.
This is true. Let's see. I don't know. Was just in the other room making lunch. Other time zone. And I have you airplaying on my TV nice and loud. Had to run in to see what the noise was and just saw Paul grooving out. That's awesome.
Yes, I was. I was getting the groove on.
Yeah.
Keeping the party alive.
Yeah. Because that's how we roll.
That is how we roll. Oh, she sent the doggy in to keep me under control.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Well, Bailey, I'm sure will be another great distraction for
Yeah.
for the folks that watch the live stream.
That's right.
So we have a guest. I see we have a guest, but they haven't logged in, so I have no idea who they are. So, guest, create a free account and you can chat with us.
Really? It shows only 3 people looking. There's just 3 people signed in because I assumed that was you, me, and Tom.
No, you're not signed in. Maybe you're the guest.
Oh, maybe so.
Because I show Tim. This is funny. Tim, Tom, and me. Tim, Tom, and me.
No, that's probably me. How about now? Oh, it's probably going to make me reload, isn't it?
Did you get that plugin installed for?
No. No, I installed it on Sarah's computer because she was having some weird. Every time, I think she had something else going on because every time she would click on something random, like even within, like, say, Hulu or something, it would bring up like 4 pop-up windows and be like, "We want you to take a survey."
Oh yeah,
Oh.
I had a bug like that on in Firefox in my Mac.
Yeah. Well, this was in
And
Chrome.
well,
Or Mac.
it can affect Chrome as well. So I had to like reset my Firefox in order to get it to stop doing that.
Yeah. Well, luckily we went in and I cleared out all of like I think there was one random mystery add-on to Chrome that she did not know about. And so I deleted that and I went through and I cleared out all the cookies and caches and all that kind of stuff. And then it stopped. So
Stupid malware.
yeah, gots to hate it. It's no fun. I know like it. Anyway.
You sounded a little bit like Yakko there for a minute.
I don't know what you're saying.
It's kind of a cross between Yakko and Paul McCartney,
We'll see.
or maybe Ringo Starr.
Maybe Ringo. It could be.
Yeah.
We were in the Abbey Road studios and we were like, man, that Chris and Paul, they got one heck of a podcast. Yes, they do. We love them.
I want to be Santa Claus. Ringo did a whole Christmas album, and that was one of the songs. Was I really want to be Santa Claus or something like that? It was funny and awkward. Kind of way. Of course, you know what it would take to reunite the Beatles, right?
Well, what's that?
2 more bullets.
Oh, that's so wrong. Oh my goodness, that is so wrong.
Yeah, poor taste, I'm sure.
Right. Well, here's another one. This was a specifically Texas one that falls in the same amount of taste range. Is do you know how you fit 100 Branch Davidians in a Honda Accord?
No.
You put them in the ashtray.
Oh.
So wrong.
Ouch.
So wrong. So wrong.
Ouch.
Here's a lighter one. Here's a lighter Christian one that only Christians get it. What kind of car did the disciples drive?
Well, it was a Honda because they were all in one accord.
That's right. That's right.
And you also got it. What was the first vehicle mentioned in the Bible? Joshua's Triumph.
Nice.
Terrible jokes. Terrible jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
man.
right. Sunday school jokes. You gotta love them.
Is there a stew?
No stew this week.
No stew this. Oh, because we're doing
8-bit.
8-bit, right? Okay. I was looking earlier and I'm like, oh, well, there isn't one, but I forgot about 8-bit.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I guess we should
Start, considering it's 10 minutes after.
Y'all want this party started, right?
Right.
Okay. So, you ready to go?
I think so. I think so. I think we can get started.
Well, I think so, Brain, but where are we going to find rubber pants in our size?
Well, Pinky, nah, I can't do it this morning.
Okay, dude, I saw the funniest video the other day.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
It's the guy who does the voice for Winnie the Pooh reading Darth Vader dialogue.
Yes, that will be the first thing I will do after this is over.
It is awesomely hysterical.
Nice.
It's like my entire childhood balled up into one neat little package.
Yeah. Now, see, what's really distracting is one of the churches we used to go to in this area had an elder. I think he was an elder. Maybe he was just a deacon. I don't know. He was in the upper echelons of the church, but his voice sounded like Winnie the Pooh, and it was so hard to concentrate during his closing prayers.
When he got done with his prayer, did he say, "Oh, bother"?
I kept on waiting for him to, or mention honey at some random time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. Well, this guy does the whole deal. It's funny because he does Darth Vader's voice he does Darth Vader's lines as Winnie the Pooh,
Right.
and he does some of the Commander's lines as Darkwing Duck. and stuff like that. It was awesome. Hey, Tom
That's
says that
fantastic.
Tyler Larson is spreading like fire up here in Canada, so that's awesome for Tyler. We'll take credit for that.
So do the Canadians really like 8-bit music or old school video games, or is that just a coincidence, or what? I'm just curious because I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't claim to know too much about Canada.
I don't know. It's funny. We were talking in the studio that Brandon, one of the guys from the Scientists, from Scientist, he kind of looks like Manifest.
Oh yeah.
And so he tried to say, well, that's my other life. And I said, oh, yeah? Prove it. Explain to me milk in a bag. And he's like, I don't know what you mean.
It's a trick question. There's no such thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, it was quite funny. It's quite funny.
That's fantastic.
Let's see here. I guess, yeah, let's get this ball rolling. So bring up your DAW.
Okay.
Your digital audio workstation. It sounds funny when you say it like that. Bring up your DAW. Let's see. Do. Hawaii 5-0.
Nice.
Okay. Hit record in 3, 2, 1. Wrong button. How about we start this now? Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rock in a Hard Place podcast, the only show that you can hear, well, all the good news that is Christian rock. My name is Chris Cooner. I am a DJ with Broken FM. You can check us out online at broken.fm. Joining me today, my partner in crime, Paul Gibson.
That's right. And this week we will be sharing the gospel of Christian rock and roll music to the masses.
Preach it, brother.
Each and every week. That's right.
Uh-huh. Come on.
Feel it.
Come
Feel it in
on.
your soul. That's right. So yeah, so I host the Christian Rock 20 Countdown, and I will never do that again. And
Wait, you'll never host the Christian Rock 20
No,
again?
no. The other thing, the thing I was doing before.
Ah, okay. Because the way that you
parody
said
thing.
that was, I host the Christian Rock 20, and I'll never do that again. I'm like, was that a comma that goes back to the earlier? See, all of a sudden, the English diagramming sentences pops back into my head from high school, and I was first of all surprised that I could actually make that connection, because I never thought diagramming sentences would get me anywhere in life. But there you
That's
go.
right. That's right. So yes, I will be hosting next week's show,
Okay,
which our
good.
guest will be Viridia, which will be fantastic. So super excited about continuing to do that, and of course getting to hang out with the wonderful people in our chat room for our live stream. And if you're listening to just the audio version, you are missing out on so much. So if you can sneak it in at work or at your home, or maybe you're just unemployed and have internet and a decent computer, then well, you should totally check us out.
I agree.
on Ustream, because
agree.
this is where all of the craziness truly originates, and then it goes out to everyone else. This is where the ripple begins.
It is. It is, absolutely. It's where the it's the beginning effect.
Where the rubber meets the road.
That musical interlude that you heard was given to us graciously by the band Scientist. And so go be sure to check them out at, I believe it's scientistmusic.com is their website. Tim and I actually had an opportunity to hang out with 3 of the band members from Scientist in the studio on Thursday, and not only had just a great time with them, but they did tell us, Paul, that it is possible that song may end up used on an album at some point in the future.
Oh, nice.
So we can be hipsters at that point and go, we liked that song before it was cool.
That's right. I'm just bemusing the idea of either one of us being hipsters.
Yeah. Well, I stopped wearing glasses a long time ago, so I am not going back to glasses just so that I can pretend.
Be
that
ironic.
Yeah, so that I can be ironic. Exactly. That's what I would say. Well, this has definitely been an interesting week. Couple of days ago. Well, no, I guess it was yesterday all this happened. I had this same problem last night when we were talking on the phone. I was like, yeah, that was a crazy couple of days. And like, no, actually it's been like 24 hours. So we talked a little bit last week about the band As I Lay Dying and how the band members have some other projects going on, that they are creating some new music. And even Paul went through and played some samples. So if you missed out on that, go check out last week's episode and listen towards the beginning, because we talk about it very early on in the show. And we were pretty excited to see what it was that was going on and what was going to be happening with these guys. And it's the first time since this whole stuff with Tim Lambesis had come down, that we really heard anything from the band at all. And it's completely understandable that we wouldn't hear a lot, because I'm sure nobody really wanted to say anything until they knew slightly more assuredly what was going on with Tim and his court case. And, I'm sure that they had, that there were lawyers and such that said, don't really say anything.
Keep your yap shut.
Just in case something happens or whatever. You don't want to implicate yourself in anything.
No.
And at the same time, you want to make sure that nothing gets out that you don't want to get out, do damage to anybody's case, whatever.
Yeah.
So then yesterday, AsILayDying.com had a new post on the front page. And it's very interestingly written. And I don't know, Paul, do you think it's best to just kind of read segments of it? Or do we want to read the whole thing?
I guess we could read the whole thing. I think we need to read it somewhat quickly because it is pretty long.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of
is.
information. So,
well, I'll start at the top and we can break it down as we as we see fit, I guess.
Okay. All right, go for it. I'll sit back and sit on the floor, and you can get in your comfy rocking chair, and we can do story time.
That's right. Sounds good.
Right.
There have been a lot of questions from fans over. No, we'll do this seriously. I'm not going to play grandpa for the whole thing.
No, that would get old very quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
No pun intended.
Just so I know, or just so I know, I already know. Just so you know, the listener, what I'm reading is verbatim off of their website. I'm not adding anything to what was said. So this is AsILayDying.com. This is the front page as of right now. This recording, blah blah blah. There have been a lot of questions from fans over the past year, and we'll hopefully be able to provide more answers over time. However, this update is only to address things related to AILD's future. Originally, we'd said we'd update fans as soon as we know more. We apologize for not sticking to that. It seemed best to wait until definitive news came in with a specific timeline. However, in light of speculation on other sites, an official update from As I Lay Dying seems to be the best way to clarify some things. Now, at this point, this is me talking here, not from the website, but at this point, we have no idea who wrote this update.
Because they don't say, hi, this is so-and-so from As I Lay Dying, letting you know what's going on.
Right. There was no information along that lines. It was as if the entire band got together, sat down, and penned this out.
Right.
We'll explain more about that later on.
Right.
Next paragraph. A good starting point is to clarify some things that have been often falsely reported. Tim was not a Christian at the time of his arrest, nor was As I Lay Dying a Christian band in 2013. It hadn't been for some time, and to the best of my knowledge, only one of the people playing in the band even claimed to be a Christian at that time. The changed view had been written about it in a handful of As I Lay Dying songs, and Tim's later atheistic view had even been documented in court records. However, it doesn't make as sensational of a headline to refer to the arrest of the ex-Christian metal subgenre independent artist as it does the Grammy-nominated top 10 selling Christian rock star of the past. With all that said, we don't know how each musician from the previous era of As I Lay Dying will think about these topics in the future. For example, Tim has spent much of the last year reevaluating what originally convinced him to abandon belief in God. I have gathered that after much brokenness and repentance, he sees things differently, considers himself a follower of Jesus, someone submitted to the will of God, or whatever you want to call it. That's for him to talk about when he's comfortable, and only time will tell if he is sincere. Such a very odd line.
It really is. But keep going.
What is certain, though, is that it's impossible to face the events of last year without being changed in some way. Let's let the guys focus on future music, and hopefully the headline-driven press will leave this issue alone for a while, given some clarification. The next section is called Uncertainty Ahead. As I Lay Dying was originally founded, owned by Tim, and then eventually ownership was shared with Jordan about 6 years later. As the only official members, neither would like to move forward at the moment, regardless of the upcoming sentencing time, which is still yet to be determined, not 9 years. There has been enough communication to establish some differences in opinion about what to do in the distant future. That keeps AILD's future in limbo. The hibernating version of the band is just the official band owners, which means As I Lay Dying is Tim and Jordan. This is based on the uncertainty of the future, including who will be performing with the band when, if that time comes. There have been nearly 20 guys who fill the vacant bass or guitar positions in As I Lay Dying history. The current setup is definitely not a closed door on some of the ex-members talking in the future, but it just makes sense for now that AILD is only Tim and Jordan. 2 opinions. Tim has acknowledged his guilt and clearly made some bad decisions in a period of time where he acted contrary to the person he's been most of his life. He believes AILD should only pick back up if it's in a form restored to its roots. For Tim, the potential of pursuing AILD again means working on a lot of other more important things in his personal life first. On the other hand, Jordan feels differently about the future. Even if more discussions were to take place, he would rather take time to pursue other things. That includes releasing new music with 3 of the guys from the most recent As I Lay Dying lineup. It's a chance for Jordan to be more involved in the songwriting process and enjoy other styles he'd rather play. In fact, they've already recorded their debut album, and I'm sure it will be awesome. It's not meant to replace As I Lay Dying because it is something stylistically different, under a different name. Interestingly enough, their vocalist is also a former Christian like his new bandmates and is the guitar player for Oh Sleeper, Shane Blay. They'll have stuff to release through Metal Blade relatively soon, which will be an exciting, interesting combination given the band's more radio-friendly sound. In terms of music, Tim doesn't want to pursue performing live music full-time, regardless of what length his sentence ends up being. His sentence certainly won't be forever, but even so, touring full-time doesn't seem healthy or practical given his new outlook and goals. Creating new music is the part Tim loves the most, and he will always continue to release albums. That includes a bunch of stuff he's recorded in the past 6 months that he will announce a project name for soon as well. As an occasional ear behind the scenes, it's good to hear him playing guitar again and writing lots of riffs again like he did across the first 5 As I Lay Dying releases. Hopefully that addresses the major questions related to As I Lay Dying. AILD is sleeping rather than dead, and there are 2 separate projects to hold you over whether or not it's awakened again.
It's so weird to hear that knowing what's coming next. Like, a lot of stuff make more sense now.
Yeah, well, so that was the big thing. It was a big question as to who wrote that.
Right.
And so later on, we actually find a kind of a press release, I guess, from Jordan and the rest of the band. Minus Tim, which pretty much says Tim wrote that, not us.
Well, it never specifically says Tim wrote that, but it says none of us wrote this. Management did not write this. The only person who has access to post stuff onto that website right now is Tim.
Right.
So,
yeah, I'm trying to get that.
I've got it right here.
Oh, do you? Go ahead and read it out.
Says, good day, friends. This morning, an update was posted over at asilaydying.com on the current happenings and individual futures of all the band's members. For Jordan, Josh, Nick, Phil, management, and record label, this was an interesting first read as all parties were oblivious to its construction, intent, and release. Though Tim is the only one with access to the As I Lay Dying site, the rest of us have been releasing content through our personal social media accounts to reveal that we are carrying on in a new band. Our truest intentions were to make this unveiling interesting and exciting for anyone who has supported us over the past year. With information so instantaneous and disposable these days, we had hoped to show you how things were coming together rather than simply tell you. We never want to capture attention dramatically, which is precisely why we have been off radar for close to a year. Though the third-person statement released earlier comprises a whole lot of how we had hoped to, comprises a whole lot of how we had hoped to unroll things, we remain positive in our outlooks and look forward to sharing new music soon with love and gratitude, Jordan, Josh, Phil, and Nick. I love it. I love how it says, through the third-person statement released earlier.
Right. Well, and that's so. The place that we're reading this from is called metalsucks.net.
Right.
And it was, what's his name? Axel Rosenberg is the one who posted the letter that we're reading. And his comment down below was, wow, so Lambesis basically screwed these poor dudes over again. And assuming he wrote it and didn't get a friend to do it for him, he wrote about himself in the third person, which is both very weird and kind of funny. Not deliberately so, we can assume. So you go back through and you see things like, comments like this. Where is it? Let me see here. Creating new music is what he loves. As an occasional ear behind the scenes, it's good to hear him playing guitar again and writing lots of riffs again like he did across the first 5 As I Lay Dying releases. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so if he wrote this, how is he only an occasional ear? It almost feels like there's this split personality thing going on.
Yeah, you never know. It's funny. You can read both of these actually on indievisionmusic.com. Okay. And some of the comments below it are very funny. And says if Josh, one of the main posters on IVM says, if it's legit, it's one of the most poorly written press release statements that I've ever seen. The writing seems to switch viewpoints from we to them and back and forth, which only leads to more speculation. And it's quite vague in some points and more certain in others. It seems odd when the statement makes clear that 3 of the members aren't even in As I Lay Dying, but are fill-in members, and why this statement would be left unsigned by the band or management or whoever wrote it. This is how you announce a new project, record label, and the surprise vocalist. And there's a whole lot of issues, so much focus being given to the Christian aspect, which has zero to do with the future of the band.
Well, and that's, Tom's comment in the chat room says it addresses questions, ? Or raises 500 more. Right. It really does. It honestly, I think it would have been better for Tim had he just come out and said, this is where I'm at. Right. And not tried to include a statement as though it were from the band in its entirety. So, while I'm sure Tim is going through an inordinate amount of stress in jail with everything else he's got going on, he really needs to focus on him and not try and bring the rest of the band along to where he's at. That's for the rest of the band to decide to do those things themselves.
Right. So, and what I don't get, though, is how in the world did he think that he was going to be, we're assuming that he wrote this, which seems to be the only logical answer at this point, but assuming he wrote all this, what did he think was going to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's the only one with access to post stuff onto the internet, even if he's the only one who has access to post on their site.
Right.
But he wrote this whole thing kind of vaguely as the band itself, minus himself. But he didn't think that anyone else was going to be like, yeah, we didn't say that.
Well, and the only other thing that I can think of is that it's possible that he had a friend write it for him and post it up. Tim fed him the information, and he had a friend post it up by giving his friend his access. Because I don't know how many jails allow you unfettered internet access. And I don't know that he, from jail, would actually be able to log in to his own website and post stuff. That part of it seems a little speculative. Yeah, that just seems kind of odd to me. I mean, I realize that some jails are coming up in as far as technology is concerned, but I don't know. There's just something about it that says, no, I don't think that Tim may have written most of it, but my guess is that he might have had a friend post the information for him. But I still feel like it was selfish of him to reveal all this detail about what the former bandmates are doing instead of letting them have their time in the spotlight and reveal it all themselves.
Yeah, at the very least, it feels kind of selfish because it feels like he was like, "Oh, look, the band's getting all this press without me," and kind of the whole idea is this is minus Tim,
right?
So I'm just gonna totally blow it, you know, and
yeah, it just seems awkward to me and a little bit sad.
Yeah,
you know, honestly.
Yeah. And speaking of sad, and not to sound like, you know, I won't be interested to hear what the full project sounds like or anything, but it is kind of sad, assuming that everything, because they don't really address it themselves, the band, but Tim definitely is putting, or whoever wrote it seems to be putting the spin on it, that the next project will be like completely devoid of any sort of believer input at that point. It sounds like that all of them have kind of been there and done that and have moved on, which is really sad. So I don't know. It's,
Tim Hopkins says, being a Tim myself, this is a weird episode to listen to.
I know, Tim. Freaking Tim trying to kill his wife. What the heck?
Yeah, I tell you. Does Stephanie know? Does she know? So it will definitely be interesting to see what transpires from this point on as to, what's next.
Yeah. Oh, although there is one other piece of information that one of the other metal like blog / website seems to have uncovered, and this is kind of hearsay stuff, but based not only on the fact that some of the latest sound clips from the former As I Lay Dying members that they have posted comes with a video that has a logo that appears to be a very artsy looking W, and apparently one of the other members has purchased a URL which is worshiper.com. So apparently everyone's kind of speculating that will be the name of the new project is Worshiper. So we'll see if that comes true or not, but it seems to have some legitimacy to it. So we'll see how that goes.
If it's a band that's walked away from its faith for the most part, why would they title anything Worshiper?
I don't know.
So
I mean, that's still part of who they are. But then again, I mean, there's a band called Lamb of God, and they don't have anything to do with Christianity either.
This is true. This is very true. I did not realize that the O Sleeper guitarist wasn't a believer. Because O Sleeper
I think that's
still
a fairly recent happening, I think.
Do they still consider themselves a Christian band, O Sleeper?
I don't know. They're no longer on Solid State, but I got the impression that they asked out of their deal because they wanted to do things. I don't know if they wanted to do things differently, or they just didn't want the constraints anymore, or they just wanted to. I don't know. I don't know what the deal was with that, but I think they still consider themselves as a whole a Christian band. I think that it did raise some eyebrows once the guitarist had said, "Yeah, I don't really believe this anymore, but I still want to be in the band."
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to say, but it's always weird when that happens to a certain degree. But then again, I also wonder, is that really something that should be hugely surprising? I mean, I would venture to say that most people who are that on fire for God, that intensely, that early on in their lives, I think a lot of the time that just burns out. And I don't really know why. I think some of it has to do with just personality inclinations, I guess. Because a lot of times I think when people are so really looking for something to embrace that strongly, that quickly, sometimes it doesn't feel like the basis is laid quite as well as maybe it should be before, that step comes. And so
the foundation is not as strong as it needs to be.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but it's also sad, and I hate that. But, it happens so much more than I think we realize because we usually don't bring it up.
Right. No, totally. I mean, that's not, you don't want to talk about people leaving the faith. That makes it look bad.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Because after all, we're all perfect after we accept Jesus and nothing bad ever happens.
That's exactly right. Life is just puppy dogs and rainbows, like we always say.
Right. Unless, of course, you're a celebrity already. In that case, nothing good's ever going to come of it because it's all for show.
Yeah. Was there any major news other than that we needed to bring up? I mean, I know Fireflight's doing is it a Kickstarter or Indiegogo?
Pledge Music.
Pledge Music. Oh, a newcomer.
PledgeMusic.com. Yeah.
A new contender enters the ring.
Yeah, they're one that only does music projects, as their name might imply. But apparently, we have Dawn on the show this week on the Christian Rock 20. So if you want to get a ton of info about that upcoming project, check out that. But a little nutshell for you. Apparently, Pledge Music only selects a few projects to allow to be part of it, and the only ones that they feel have a chance of succeeding. So that's good.
Okay.
The only thing that I'm a little sad about is it doesn't feel like Fireflight is promoting it nearly enough because they're only like 40%.
Yeah.
I mean, mind you, they still got 30 days to go, so I have no problems believing that they'll make it. But I don't know. Time and time again, it's like that direct correlation between if you talk about it, people will pledge. If you don't talk about it, they won't. Because I mean, I had to look around to figure out that they were still doing it when I was setting up the interview because I wasn't sure. Because you scroll a long way on their Facebook page before you ever find them mentioning it at all, which is a little sad. But I think they'll make it. But they could definitely use some help. And you can even buy Dawn's dress from the Unbreakable photo shoots and music videos, which is a little weird, but I think it's cool.
Nice. Tim said apparently Flyleaf did their album on Pledge Music.
Yes, they did. And I want to say that Family Force 5 did one of their like self-done EPs on Pledge as well.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, they've been around for a little while. They just are not nearly as high profile as other, things like Kickstarter and Indiegogo because they cater specifically to music. So they've already kind of narrowed themselves down. And then you also have to figure that, only so many people are going to choose that as well. So, it's kind of a narrow spectrum of things. Other news is if you go to owlcitymusic.com, you can hear and then download a new song that they have put up. But the only thing that's kind of weird is you have to sit through this whole weird interactive visual thing. There's a boat. Have you been to this yet?
I have not.
It's so bizarre. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's cool, but it's kind of long because you have to sit through the entire song really to be able to download it. But there's this boat that's on this sea, and it's all done like in Flash or something. It's very cool, but it's basically a bunch of still images that move. And so you can like move around in it with the mouse, but you can't make the boat go any faster.
Okay.
And the boat has to reach the lighthouse and then stop, which ironically enough happens the same time as the song ends. And then it gives you the option to download it. I did it. It takes about 3 minutes. So, I mean, realistically, you can get bored with the boat, leave it going and go, eat some lunch and come back and then download it. But I mean, it's nifty, but it's definitely not worth paying close attention to for like 3.5 minutes. But if you want the song, definitely worth it. And, fun stuff there. I think Project 86 is almost at $80,000.
Yeah.
On the Indiegogo.
They've extended it as long as it can. I think yesterday they had like 2.5 days left. So it's around 2 days left right now in order to get in on any of those exclusive goodies. But they've extended it as long as they can.
Right. As of right this second, there's 62 hours left, and they are at $79,335, and their original goal was $50,000.
Wow,
so
that's amazing.
I know they're in the top 10 because I think when they started the extension, they were in the top 8 music-funded projects of all time. So that's really cool for them. And one of them is you can be a VIP for life, which means you get to go do, I guess, backstage performances. If they're doing any bonus performances before the show, any of that, you get in automatically.
Excellent.
And it's $150, but still, that's pretty cool. And if you're going to go see them a lot, that helps.
Yeah, I was going to say you see them play like 10 times or something like that, and that's all taken care of.
Right. Plus, you get the CD too. I mean, it's not just that. You get the CD too, but still, I'm just going, wow.
Yeah.
So
Tom says apparently Family Force 5 has some new videos up showing their recording progress, and so it seems that they might also be done with whatever their next album is. Is it a full album or an EP, or do we know?
I think it's going to be a full album, and the last I heard is all of the songs save one were completely done and were sent off to mixing, and I got the impression they were very close to finishing tracking that last song. So it won't be too much longer. Of course, lots of eyes and ears going to be all over the new record because of Soul Glow's departure and now Crouton taking over.
Well, and I'm wondering, is Soul Glow the one who's doing the final mixing on it, or are they sending that outside?
I'm going to say something that's going to sound terrible. I hope they're sending it outside. I think Soul Glow is an awesome songwriter. I think he's an awesome vocalist. I think he's an awesome performer. Some of the mixing, at least as far as levels go, are not always where I would want them to be. Like,
Right.
I think that some of them could be a lot beefier. And I don't know necessarily that he's 100% the one who did it, but I think that could be stepped up just a little bit. Not that any of their stuff is bad, but
Right.
a lot of the recent stuff that I think they did more in-house wasn't quite as good as previous things, and I don't think that's news to them. I think I know that they're professional enough to know that, but most of it was mostly digital only, so I don't think that's going to be a huge deal. But still, at the same time, I'm kind of hoping they're farming that out a little bit, but I have heard very little other than just what everyone else gets to hear on that. So we'll have to change that soon.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, let's see here.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
In a hard place. New music. Review. Meridia. Inseparable.
Ben Franklin once said, "By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail." Planning and strategy are incredibly important to anyone's success, and if you're looking to make a splash in the music scene, rarely does it just happen. You've got to do the work. One listen to Viridia's debut EP, Inseparable, and it's apparent that they've done just that. I would have a hard time believing that Viridia is just a group of friends that decided to make music one day, and a year later, they're the proud parents of the #1 Christian rock song in North America. I would, however, swallow the story of a group of brilliant minds collectively scheming to dominate the Christian rock world by assembling the best available talent, an industry top producer, and an all-star marketing team. Now, I'm not saying that's what we have in Viridia, but there's definitely more than just a catchy song played at just the right time. I mean that in a good way. What does Viridia mean, you ask? Literally, it's defined as of truth, and according to lead vocalist Dina Jacob, it represents the intentions and desires of the band to live a life of truth seekers that are honest with others and themselves. Oh, you've never met? Well, let me introduce you to Dina, Kyle, Brandon, and Trevor, aka Viridia. Formed in Nashville in 2013, Viridia has burst out with their first EP, Inseparable, released on Word Records. An assembly of 5 tracks totaling less than 20 minutes of music, Inseparable is a fine sampling in what great talent and excellent production can result. Did I mention the production yet? Let me just say this. Absolutely unreal production on this EP by Ian Eskelin, which comes as expected for a 2-time winner and 6-time nominee of the Dove Award for Producer of the Year. It's easy to see that the band-producer relationship was a perfect match, and this project is helping Viridia, a female-led quartet, to stand out in a genre where comparisons are inevitable and plentiful. Let's be truthful, men outnumber women in the Christian rock market, so it's only natural when a new female-fronted band arrives on the scene, they're compared to the ones already there. Fair? No. Reality? Unfortunately. And even though as you listen to Inseparable you hear the influences of other female-fronted bands, there's something about Viridia that makes them distinct. One reason is because Viridia sounds like, for lack of better words, right now. They've taken every trend in Christian rock over the last few years and turned them to 11. Be it the gorgeous orchestral strings in the #1 single We Are the Brave, or the electro dub elements in the foot-tapping track Disconnected. Let's not forget the amazingly thoughtful lyrics that are brought to life riding on the stunning vocals of Dina Jacob, especially in the heart-moving song that every young woman needs to hear and believe, Furious Love. My personal favorite song was the groove-driven number Mechanical Planet. As well as hypnotizing with its groove, this song reminds us that we are all valuable masterpieces of a God that is always with us. For those that are in a battle of waning faith and doubt in the unseeable, a listen to the ballad Mystery of the Invisible has the potential to truly fan the flame inside the heart as Dina pleads, "Have faith, my dear." One downside to Inseparable is that it's limited to a 5-track EP, and after you've motored through the collection of 3 to 3.5 minute tracks, you feel like you've just had your appetizer and you're ready for the main course. But I have a feeling that that's all part of the plan. I give Inseparable by Viridia 4 rocks out of 5. For the Rock in a Hard Place podcast, I'm Tom Labonte.
Awesome. If you want to know more about Tom Labonte, you can check him out. He is the host of The Edge on UCB Canada, and you can find that at ucbcanada.com and rockfortherock.net.
Yeah,
Tim says Viridia also had their song picked up by ESPN for promos.
That's right, for girls softball, I believe,
Awesome.
at the collegiate level. So always cool.
Yeah.
And of course, they're joining the ranks of people like 1,000 Foot Crutch and Project 86 who end up getting picked up for stuff like that fairly often.
Yeah, which is very, very cool. And that actually kind of leads us into our topic today.
I know.
I'm a little sad that Kirk's not here because this is something that he wanted us to talk about. But we are going to be talking.
Serves him right.
Yeah, well, he's at Pizza Hut. What can I say? So you, Paul, have done a tremendous amount of research, but we also were sent a very nice, healthy list by Kirk about songs, Christian rock songs that have been used in movies and TV shows.
Right.
So,
and I will also further clarify that these are mainstream movies and TV shows. I think if we started talking about, Facing the Giants and Fireproof and other things of that ilk, then this would be a very long list. And let's face it, that's not really, to me, a big deal.
You would expect them to use Christian music. Now, if they'd used a mainstream song in their film, that would be a little more talk-worthy.
Yeah, right. Which, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, I think save one song, I think the Blue Light Jazz soundtrack was all mainstream stuff. So,
okay.
It is done, but then again, that song there, that movie in and of itself was done very differently than most other Christian films, as it were. So,
well, and
but
is Blue Light Jazz considered a Christian film?
Oh yeah,
is it?
I
Okay. I still haven't seen it yet.
It's good. I mean, it definitely gives some viewpoints that are typically different from most other people who claim the Christian faith, which is very ironic to me that so many people were up in arms about the movie because the movie didn't really take that much liberties over what was done in the book. And I know so many people who thought the book was awesome and didn't have problems with the book. But sometimes seeing stuff acted out in front of you is is enough to be kind of different.
Well,
and enough to make it more real. I don't know.
It's along the lines of people that are refusing to go see Noah because they've heard from other people what it's about. Right. If you want to make a decision about whether a movie is accurate or not, go see it and find out for yourself.
And also, it's not based on the biblical account. It's based off of a graphic novel that's based off of the biblical account. So, I mean, it's not really... no one's trying to say this is biblically accurate. They're making a movie, And,
right. Well, and I
don't know.
The director himself said it's going to be the most unbiblical version of the biblical story. So, I mean, you have to walk into it with that in mind. So if you think you're going to have a hard time watching it, then don't watch it. But I don't think you should tell people it's not biblically accurate if you haven't seen it. I have not seen it. I probably won't go to the theater and see it. If it comes on Netflix at some point, I may take the time to watch it. But I have no desire to see someone else's version of a story that I already know really well and have what I consider to be an accurate resource to go back and read about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
That's my opinion. So
yeah. Well, the other thing to think about, and this is coming from having been around movie making enough to realize this, and having a wife who's a filmmaker, you have to have enough stuff there to make a story. And if you went completely off the biblical account, you would have a 20-minute short film, or a really long film with lots of flood scenes, and that would be it. I mean, there's not enough there to make a 2-hour-long movie. It's just it's not. There's not that much stuff there, not enough direct from text dialogue to be able to get that. So you're going to have to make something up at some point to have a feature-length movie.
Yeah.
But That's just me. Don't stone me. I'm just saying what I'm thinking.
That's what's wonderful about opinions is everyone can have them.
That's right. That's right. So Christian rock and movies.
yeah. We're taking a look at this list here that both Paul and Kirk combined, and I got to tell you, POD is pretty much the clear winner as far as a band that has had music used in some mainstream movies and such. It's quite amazing. They've had songs in The Matrix Reloaded. Well, at least these have been included in the soundtracks. That doesn't necessarily mean they were in the movie, but they're on the soundtrack.
Right.
Okay. So Sleeping Awake by POD was used in the Matrix Reloaded soundtrack.
Which was an original created for that movie, too. It was not just included. It was written for the movie, as was School of Hard Knocks for Little Nicky, which is so funny to think of that combination. And plus, that's probably like that and what is it? The don't mess with the Zohan or whatever. Those are probably like the two most panned
right
Adam Sandler movies ever. But at the time that Little Nicky was made, POD was Adam Sandler's favorite band, and apparently they got a call from him saying, "Hey, will you make a song for this movie that we got coming up?" Of course. What do you say? He's like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I
mean,
I always thought that was funny.
It's good exposure, but I don't know. Yeah. I never saw the movie Little Nicky. There was something about just looking at the promos and previews and stuff. I was just like, I just don't think that's a movie I should go see. And I'm not, I enjoy some of Adam Sandler's movie. I mean, Happy Gilmore, I think, is hysterical. It's certainly not what I would call family friendly because of language and stuff. But, it's a movie that when I'm bored and it happens to be available for streaming or something, I don't have a problem sitting down and watching it. He's made a few movies that I think are wonderful. What is it? 50 First Dates.
Yeah,
is a very cute film and a lot of fun to watch. The Waterboy is one of my favorites of his. I mean, it just that those kind of things crack me up. So, it's there's some good stuff out there that he's done. But I never thought Little Nicky was one that I wanted to partake in. But
it's weird because it's almost like the prodigal son in reverse.
Yeah.
Because it's like the son of the devil wanting to do nice things, and he can't understand why that's so terrible.
Right. Yeah, that's I don't know. It's
an odd movie at the very least. It's very odd, but
Well, let's keep going down POD's list. Boom from Here Comes the Boom.
Which that song plays such an integral part in that movie. Like he starts using that song as his like intro song. As Kevin James is an MMA fighter, which is funny enough in and of itself. But that song gets played like easily 4 times, maybe 5 in the movie. It's crazy. So I mean that the whole title of Here Comes the Boom comes from the song. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a huge partnership with that. And I dare say POD had to have made a mess load of money off of that.
Probably. Well, and then the song gets used again in the movie called Grind.
Yeah, it's a skateboarding movie. Yeah.
Which I would figure being called Grind. Yeah. So cool. The Payback is from Triple X, The State of the Union.
And I think that one may be an original as well, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Let me see. Paul Oakenfold remix of POD's Satellite is on Tomb Raider Cradle of Life, which is Angelina Jolie, I believe. Jolie. Lie Down from the Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows soundtrack.
Which also Project 86 has a song off of Drawing Black Lines called P.S. that's on that soundtrack as well, alongside Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson and a bunch of the other, big names in the, secular metal and, industrial world at that point. So that was a fun pairing to me. I thought that was cool.
Good deal. Let me see. Whatever It Takes from Any Given Sunday.
Which I think also was an original.
Okay. It's a good football movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Any Given Sunday. Let me see here. Truly Amazing, songs inspired by The Passion of the Christ, which was Mel Gibson's movie version of the crucifixion story. I saw that movie once. And it's funny, I never saw it in the theaters. I waited until it came out on DVD, and then I put it in my Netflix queue, and it was way down at the bottom of the Netflix queue. And I knew it was going to be one of those movies that I was going to watch, but I was going to have to be in the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
In order to sit down. It's not just the thing. It's like, you know what? I'm going to watch Jesus get crucified today.
Right.
It's not that kind of a feel-good movie. So you really have to prepare yourself. It's kind of like getting ready to take communion, in my opinion.
Or to get a beating.
Yeah. It's like you really have to be in the proper mindset to sit down and watch that film. And people that would buy it on DVD and watch it over and over again, it's just like, are you really glutton for punishment that much?
Right.
So because it paints a very vivid picture of what happened. So we got it on Netflix. Hey, Kirk just popped in.
Hey, Kirk.
So we get it on Netflix, and then seriously, it sits on our TV for like 3 months.
Right.
Like the disc just sat there in the envelope because my wife and I both were like, both of us need to be in the right frame of mind. We need to be prepared for this. And finally, one day, she's like, it's kind of like you just need to rip off the Band-Aid. So we put our daughter to bed because we only had Becca at the time. And we put it on and sat there and watched it. And I think both of us were like weeping by the time it came to the crucifixion. It's just very, very powerful film.
Right. It's funny. I saw that when I was in college, and the university I was at was a Christian university. So they bought out the local theater that was going to be showing it for like 4 or 5 shows, enough to where every student could go if they wanted to, I think. And so we went and saw that. And the biggest discussion that went on going into it was, how wrong is it going to be to eat popcorn while watching Jesus get crucified?
Yeah.
There's something horrendously seems wrong about that. So none of us did pretty much from the university, but a few people who showed up, I guess they didn't buy out the shows, but I think they would buy your ticket if you wanted to go. So there were a few people who weren't from the university. And you'd see people coming in with slushies and, popcorn going in to see The Passion of the Christ, and you're just going, you're so going to hell. Yeah. There's got to be some rule somewhere that says you're going to hell for this. This is so wrong. And it definitely is a powerful film. You watch it and you're just weeping. And we do own it on DVD. I think we got it fairly inexpensively, but I haven't had the nerve to pop it in again.
I'm guessing that most people that have it on DVD, if they bought it brand new, the plastic is still sealed around it.
Probably.
So. It's just kind of there. It's like, I've done my Christian duty. I bought the film.
I support it.
Here it goes. It's going in my rack.
I can say that I own it.
But I would also guess that there's probably people out there that maybe this is their typical Easter thing, is as part of their Easter preparations, they'll watch the film as a reminder of the Easter story. So it's wow. It was a very powerful film. Very powerful film.
And it's funny because I didn't even realize that POD had a song on the songs inspired by Passion of the Christ until I was doing research for this. So I'm going to actually have to look it up and listen to it because I've never heard it. I'm sure it's a probably mellow song.
Yeah.
Because it seems like it would have to be.
Well,
but,
I believe that
still.
Scott Stapp has a song.
Oh, you're probably right.
On there also, because I think that was kind of one of those times that he was letting people know that he was a Christian, but Creed wasn't a Christian band. And he was kind of coming. It was one of his attempts at a comeback of getting clean, and he was really trying to get in. And that kind of stuff. So I'm almost positive.
It's called Relearn Love.
There you go, Scott Stapp. So,
which is weird. It says Scott Stapp, The Tea Party, and 7 Aurelius.
Oh,
I don't know what all that. Of course, and I think that's before the Tea Party, as we know it now, what that means actually existed. So I don't know exactly what all that's about.
Yeah,
it must have been like a writing team, or maybe it was like the backup band or something. I don't know. That's kind of odd.
Not sure.
But yeah, also Lauryn Hill's on that. That's kind of funny. And MXPX is on there.
Oh, really?
Featuring Mark Hoppus. That's so bizarre.
That's interesting. Very, very interesting.
I may have to pick that up if I ever find it, just because that seems like such an odd pairing. I mean, you got MXPX, BB Winans with Angie Stone, Big Dismal, Sarah Evans, Scott Stapp.
Tom says the Tea Party is a Canadian band.
Oh. Well, good for them.
So,
it makes me feel better.
There you go. There you go. Oh, and Kirk says that his church watches The Passion every Easter. So that would make sense. I mean, I could see that. I could totally see that. You know? But I tell you, that was one of the grittier of the Christian films. Like,
oh yeah,
they didn't.
Well,
really,
it was rated R.
Yeah, they didn't pull any punches in their depictions, which I applaud them for. You know, I think I don't remember if it was Tim that linked me to an article or if he posted it. If he posted it on the Broken FM Facebook page or something, but there was a thing that was like, you know, Christian movies really need to step up their game, and it was kind of an idea of if language and nudity is needed to tell the story, then they should be okay with doing that. And I can't say that I agree with that standpoint. You know, it's like it's really hard to say that it's okay to put nudity and you know, really foul language in a Christian film. Now, I know Blue Like Jazz, there's some swearing in it, right?
Oh, yeah. They dropped the F-bomb a couple of times. If I remember
and that
correctly.
was controversial. I mean, that was like really kind of a big thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense. It's on the campus of Reed College. They dialed it way back to make it a PG-13 movie because they didn't want it to be a rated R movie, but they wanted it to be realistic. And Reed campus is known pretty widely as the most godless campus on the North American continent. And if you had that and everyone went around saying, well, gosh darn it, and horse dang it, and oh poopy, then I mean everyone would see through that. And that's the problem is, I mean, if you don't want to know about that sort of stuff, then don't go see the movie. But if you want to get some sort of a realistic, an honest and real representation of something that happened, there's some places you kind of have to go.
Right.
And it's easier in Christian fiction.
Yes.
And it so is, but you can't do that in Christian film as easy because it raises eyebrows. I mean, I've read so many, I believe, Frank Peretti books and books by Ted Decker where there was like, and then he swore. It's like, oh, okay, I get that. So he said a wordy dirt. I don't need to know what it is.
Right.
But then if you have somebody who, you know, if you cut every word off to where it's like it cuts to the next scene right when somebody's about to drop an F-bomb or an S-bomb on screen, it becomes a running joke. Or if you bleep it out, or if you have someone say dang it or whatever, then it's a distraction from the point of the movie, which is kind of hard. Of course, and again, I was raised in a home where cursing was definitely not okay, and very minimal was okay in movies and in TV shows and all that. So it makes me uncomfortable. But to me, there's something correct about the fact that I do feel uncomfortable about it. No one said that it has to be comfortable for you to appreciate it.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, it's part of you know, you're witnessing something that's going on. Now, there's definitely gratuity to a certain point where it's just totally gratuitous. They're doing it just to shock you,
right?
You know, and it's just meant to you know, it's just meant to get people talking, whatever. No one says that's necessary, but there's a certain point where if you want something to get taken seriously, there are places you have to go, which isn't always necessally a good sign of where the world is, but maybe realistic.
I grew up where swearing was not allowed in the household. You know, my father would drop a damn or a hell every once in a while if he was really, really angry. But that was like the extent of, and everybody at the table when it happened, everybody was like,
right. Yeah.
You know, wow, Dad's really ticked.
Right.
You know, but I was also never sheltered from that language. I mean, my parents ran a bus depot.
Oh, there you go.
You know, and I mean, you want to talk about seeing the dregs of humanity crawl in, especially on a rainy day. That is definitely what you would see. So I was never sheltered from it. And then, of course, I also worked in construction for a number of years. So I can say honestly that when I hear foul language in a movie, it does not shock me. It doesn't really affect me because I've been surrounded by it. Now, a lot of people will say, well, if you sit there and subject yourself to it so much, then you'll find yourself saying it. And I say only if you're weak.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know, I mean, I think that there's a weakness involved with allowing yourself to begin to use that kind of language when you get upset. And it's you should always be conscious of your words no matter what, because that way you can be sure that you are properly representing Christ with your speech at all times. So if you're consciously thinking about what the words you're saying are going to do effect-wise, then I think you can be a much better witness. And that's not to say that you shouldn't swear, but I don't think it's necessary. I feel like swearing, especially some of the harsher, I guess from the Christian perspective, the worse dirty words, those ones are to me, it's the sign of a limited vocabulary.
Yeah. Especially if you listen to mainstream hip hop.
Yeah, totally.
Like everything rhymes with those words.
When I worked when I worked in construction, I had two guys. One was the foreman, one was the apprentice, and the two of them could drop F-bombs. You'd hear 12 in a sentence.
Yeah.
And it's just it's the idea that they have nothing better to say, so they just fill all these blank spots. So instead of saying they drop an F-bomb.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't even think about it. But to me, it's like I got so tired of just hearing that word. It's like, come on, guys. You know, these are supposedly educated men who are skilled at their craft, but they can't talk worth a darn.
Right.
That's where it just becomes, when it becomes excessive like that, then I start to get annoyed. But just because I'm tired of hearing it, not because I feel badly or anything about having heard it.
Right.
I feel like that kind of thing is part of being in the world without being of the world.
Right there with you.
So, let's get back to the list here. We've got this is a nice little tangent we went on.
That was nice. We went from Passion of the Christ to cursing, just like that. It was
exactly.
Nice. Yeah.
Youth of the Nation is off of the Blue Crush soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then Lights Out from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles soundtrack, which...
That's the TMNT, the one that was an abbreviation. It was the animated feature length that came out about 3-4 years ago.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's a good remix, too. I like that one.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
It's called the Chris Vrenna remix.
Yeah, I'll Dropbox it to you. It's good.
Awesome. Good deal. Now, Project 86 had a song also on the Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows, and the song, I guess, is called P.S.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Need to Breathe had There's Something Beautiful on the When in Rome soundtrack. Now, I got to say, that is one of my favorite Need to Breathe songs.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Absolutely love that song. Switchfoot, for being as popular as they are in the mainstream world, you would think that you would see them used more often in films.
Yeah.
But Dare You to Move and Learning to Breathe and You were all used in the A Walk to Remember soundtrack.
Which I think a lot of people credit that to a good bit of their success was the inclusion of those songs in the film, because it's like before them that seemed to be kind of a pivotal turning point, because it was right after that This Beautiful Letdown came out with the different versions of Dare You to Move and whatnot on there, and then I think that it just picked up from there. But I think that got them a lot of exposure, which really helped bolster their career.
Now, I have not seen A Walk to Remember. Is that Keanu?
No, it's you would ask me that. I know it's Mandy Moore.
Okay.
I don't remember the other guy's name. Let me see. I'll look it up.
All right.
It's Shane West is in that.
No, I don't know him.
He's not typically an A-lister. I think this was kind of really a vehicle more for Mandy Moore than it was for him, but I think he's been in a few TV things and a couple of other movies. But yeah, definitely not an A-lister, but he's I don't know, he's got kind of that look, but I don't think he ever really went on to do anything hugely memorable after that. I want to say he may have been on a TV show or something, but
okay. Tom says that Need to Breathe also had a Difference Maker in a video montage on WWE's Raw that was on MLK Jr. Day.
Oh, that's fun.
So little TV time for that one as well. So that's good. Let's see. Meant to Live ended up on the UK version of the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack.
Only on the UK version.
Not sure why that, but okay. The song Out of Control is on the 2011 Hawaii Five-0 soundtrack, and their song Needle in a Haystack apparently was used in the show.
Yeah. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think both of those were included before Hello Hurricane actually was released as an album.
Oh, okay.
So that was kind of fun.
Okay,
but it fits. I mean, they're surfers. They play surf kind of rock, Hawaii Five-O.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Manifest, the song Renegade, was used on CSI Miami.
Which is weird because I didn't have to look that one up because I remembered that one.
Okay.
They're breaking into like a meth lab or something, and that's supposed to be the music that they're listening to while they're making meth. It's kind of funny.
Okay, so we'll put on a Christian artist, and then we'll make drugs.
Yeah. And then they use it in the subsequent like foot chase that comes when they're trying to chase down one of these, drug kingpins or whatever. But it's kind of funny. I was like, wait, that's
that'd be like
Manifest.
CeCe Winans being in an episode of Breaking Bad.
Hey, it could happen. You never know.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
depends on who the music person is for the show, I guess.
Now, apparently, Mute Math did a version of the Transformers theme that's not in the film, but it's on the soundtrack.
Yeah, have you never heard it?
I have not.
I think I have it. You want to hear it a little bit?
Sure.
All right, let's see here. It's pretty good. I like it anyway. Starting it from the beginning.
Sure.
Transformers, more than meets the eye.
And that's all I can play without talking over it. But I mean, it's pretty good. It's different. I mean, it's kind of hard to hear anything so iconic redone to some degree. But they do a pretty good job. It's really smooth. And you would think that maybe they would have gone for something more abrasive for it. But it's still good. I enjoy it. But I think the big thing, a reason why that was overlooked is Linkin Park's What I've Done was an original song that was created for that kind of took over the spotlight on that album.
Right.
Which is also a good song, but it was one of those things where I think a lot of people were like, oh, Mute Math's going to have that song. That's going to make them so huge. And then Linkin Park had a new song that went on there and it was like, oh, it's Linkin Park. And then it was all over. So what are you going to do?
Oh, man. Let's see. Owl City or Mute Math had Valium, and Owl City had Sunburn, and Red Jumpsuit had Love Seat from the 90210 soundtrack, which I think Paul and I were discussing a little bit off air, that was the redo of 90210, not the original one with Shannon Doherty and all of those guys on it.
Yeah, and also I will say this, and I could be wrong, but I think this was pre-Red Jumpsuit Apparatus jumping into the Christian market. But, it's still interesting to look back and realize that they were part of that. But anyway, so that's just a minor FYI.
So that's definitely interesting. Plum has a few tracks out there. Boys Don't Cry from The View from the Top soundtrack. Mm-hmm. Real Life Fairy Tale from the Perfect Man soundtrack. Spirit in the Sky from Evan Almighty. Now, I love the song Spirit in the Sky. And I know Stellar Cart has done a cover of it, and it was originally done... why can't I think of his name now?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go look that up real quick because the original is one of my favorites. The original was actually used in like Apollo 13 and Spirit in the Sky. iTunes, don't fail me now. Norman Greenbaum, that's the one.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And Stellar Card actually did a cover of it that sounds really good and really close to it. And it's a fantastic job that they did on that cover. But the original always has a special place in my heart. It'd be interesting for me to hear Plum's version to see how close they stayed to the original.
Yeah.
Just to get a feel for that kind of thing. This is the Norman Greenbaum original.
Love that guitar.
Oh, it's so awesome, I know. It sounds so dated, yet so awesome.
Yeah, it does.
It's like, how did they even have effects like this back in the day?
When I die and I lay me to rest, gonna go to the place that's the best.
Yeah.
When I lay me down to die.
I could sit and listen to that song all day. Great stuff. Great stuff. Let's see. Let me bring my list back up again. So yeah, I'd want to hear that Plum version just to see how good it is. Cut, the song "Cut" from Plum in the Vampire Diaries soundtrack, and Stranded from the Drive Me Crazy soundtrack. Now, whenever I see Drive Me Crazy, I always think of what's the now I can't. The Fine Young Cannibals. That's the one.
Oh yeah.
You know. That's what I always think of. Now, Jars of Clay, no slouches when it comes to getting songs on soundtracks or in movies, either one. They have a song called Unforgettable You that is also from the Drive Me Crazy soundtrack. Their song... What?
The fact that their song Flood was used in Hard Rain is so funny to me.
Well, you know.
It's almost 2 on the nose.
Hard Rain. I'm trying to think. Was that a Michael Douglas film, Hard Rain?
No, it was Christian Slater and
Slater.
Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
Good film.
Yes.
You know,
I remember
definitely
that now.
A rated R film, but
Yeah.
that was a good movie though.
Man, I haven't seen that in forever.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten it existed.
Yeah. As have most Christian Slater films.
Yeah, exactly. No, Cuffs, dude. Cuffs has a soft spot in my heart.
Aw.
I love the scene where they're up in the parking garage, on the top of the parking garage, and they come across this deal that's going down, and it's just Cuffs and his partner, and the one bad guy goes, he's got a 12 gauge shotgun or whatever. That thing can only hold so many shots. I think we can take him. And all of a sudden the guy racks it, pulls the trigger, boom, and shoots the guy that said that. Yeah. And Cuffs looks and goes, well, now that we know that he can add and he can subtract, you want to still go about this way? It's a great line. I mean, Christian Slater's not done a ton of awesome movies, but Cuffs always has a special place in my heart for.
See, I don't even know that I've ever heard of that one. I'll have to hunt that one down.
It's very funny. He the premise is that he's got a brother who is what they call a patrol specialist. I guess that they've divided up the districts of this neighborhood. The police force can't handle everything, so they've got these guys that are academy trained, and they're called patrol specialists, and they're paid by the community to add extra policing to their particular neighborhood. And this bad element moves in, and Cuff's brother, Christian Slater's brother, who's played by Bruce Boxleitner, for Scarecrow and Mrs. King.
Okay.
Back in the day, he gets shot and killed, and Cuffs is who ends up getting the precinct left to, and he's got no police training whatsoever. So in order for him to maintain it, he's got to go back to school. Then he gets paired up with his partner as part of his training. It ends up it's a comedy definitely, but there's a lot of fun stuff. There's one thing. Christian Slater's in the back of a cop car as he's being driven someplace, and he drives by this wall, and one of my favorite sayings ever is painted on this wall as like a graffiti thing, and it says, "Life is what happens while you're making other plans."
Oh, right.
So, you know, that's where that came from for me. I'm sure it was somebody way more important that said it, but I'll always recognize it from the movie Cuffs. So there is some language in the movie, just so that everybody knows.
One would assume, but yes.
So, you know, well, no, I mean like bad.
No, bad.
Bad language.
Bad language.
You know,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So just
wordy nerds.
I see, and that's the thing. I have a hard time recommending films because what I'm okay with, not everyone else is, and then it's like it reflects badly on me because people are like, "How could you possibly recommend that film?" Well, sorry, it didn't bug me like it seems to bother you.
Yeah.
The song Jars of Clay's song "Lonely People" from the Everwood soundtrack. I have no idea what Everwood is.
It was, well, I think it's a television soundtrack. I think it's a TV show instead of a movie.
Gotcha.
But it's weird though. That entire soundtrack is basically covers from stuff like from the 60s. Like the Lonely People is a cover of an America song.
Okay.
And then there's also covers by Cat Stevens, Jackson Brown, Seals and Croft, Jimmy Cliff, stuff like that. So
Okay, cool.
yeah.
The Widowing Field from the movie We Were Soldiers. Good war film, Mel Gibson war film.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that movie. Jars of Clay, The Chair from The Long Kiss Goodnight, which I have not seen.
Yeah. I don't know if I've seen that one or not. I feel like I may have, but I think it was one that I saw like way later, so I don't think it actually stuck with me very much.
Yeah. Let's see here. Do you pronounce this next band Mukala? Mukala?
I think it's I always said Mukala, but I don't know. I don't know that I've ever heard it said in any sort of official capacity, but they were a one-album band. They were on Essential Records, and they had stuff that sounded kind of like, I don't know, maybe like Beck or Radiohead, kind of that experimental rock sound. Good stuff, but yeah, it was kind of funny to me that they landed on a soundtrack. But
interesting.
Right.
Sixpence None the Richer. I've been waiting from the V from the Top soundtrack and their song Kiss Me, which really kind of catapulted them into the mainstream side of things.
Oh, yeah.
From She's All That soundtrack. And apparently here the BBC used the songs as a closing theme during its broadcast coverage of Prince Edward's royal wedding.
Yep.
So, and was later included as the first, included as the first soundtrack on Songs from Dawson Creek, released April 1999 and made number 7 on the album charts.
That's right. Dawson's Creek was that big. It's hard to remember that, but Dawson's Creek was huge.
Was that James Vanderbeek and
yeah,
stuff like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was before
Tom Cruise's
he'd come
wife.
out.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy stuff, but yeah, it was interesting looking back to think that show was that big. I think my wife started rewatching that show a little bit for a while, and I just watching this like, wow, this is just like so based on teen drama. There's nothing else going on, just teen drama.
Yeah, that's I never watched it, so I knew who some of the players were. I knew James Vanderbeek from the football movie.
Oh, Any Given Sunday?
No,
or no,
that
Varsity
one.
Blues.
Varsity Blues, yeah, that one. Yeah. So, and then apparently Sixpence's Lee Nash, father and son from the Everwood soundtrack. So
right, which I believe. Let me see, who was that a cover of? Darn it, where did it go? I'm looking at the page and I don't see it. There it is. Oh, Cat Stevens. It was a remake of a Cat Stevens song.
Gotcha. And last but certainly not least, Anne Boleyn. A Perfect Tourniquet from the 90210 soundtrack. So a lot of TV, a lot of movies as well. And I mean, this is just what was sent to us and what Paul's discovered in the last few days. So,
and I didn't even get to all the stuff that was sent to us. There was more.
I'm sure that there's tons and tons and tons of Christian artists used in mainstream productions, movies, TV, and all of that kind of stuff. If you have some favorites, well, you can certainly let us know by emailing us at rockandahardplacepodcast@gmail.com. You can comment on the website, rockandahardplacepodcast.com, or post it on our Facebook page, Rock and a Hard Place. Facebook.com/rockandahardplace podcast. Now, I wanted to mention, I need to go and actually get his name real quick, because the guy who brought us some attention to the story that we shared with you earlier. And then he actually also gave us the info on the follow-up from the band. And I'm trying to get to the Facebook page right now and share his name because I want to say thank you. And I'm vamping, and Facebook is taking forever to load. Austin! I'm going to say his last name is probably pronounced Gravely.
Sure.
Austin Gravely. If that's not right, well, I'm sorry. I apologize. But he's the one who posted that. His comment was, "It sucks that this announcement from AILD wasn't out yet when y'all recorded last week's outstanding show." And so he made us aware of that, and then posted the even odder reply. He's like, "Oh guys, it gets even weirder or nuttier now." He says apparently that was just him and the band didn't write it. So thank you, Austin, for making us aware of that. We do appreciate it. And if you guys have more information, feel free to post it on the Facebook page. That's certainly an easy way to get a hold of us and let us know what's going on. Paul, do you have any noise trade stuff this week?
I do. I did grab a couple of things, and one of which I was looking to see who it was that had reminded me about this. I knew that it was there, but I totally forgotten. So if you gave me this idea, thank you very much. I'm sorry I can't find your name because I'm not as good as Chris. But Love Like Gravity, of course, they're working on a new record. They were on my show last week, and now they have a new lead singer. So this stuff sounds a little bit different, but their previous EP, which had the singles Stronger, Dig, and Adrenaline on it, is up on Noise Trade. I totally forgot it was there. So if you forgot what these guys sound like, this is what their old vocalist and the older EP, which you can grab in its entirety for free, sounds like. This is their song, which ended up being number 2 overall in my 2011 countdown and was the fan favorite of the year because it got so much buzz. So here's a little sample.
Just out of reach, I'm down on callous knees. I'm so much stronger. You size me up like I'm a cinch, but it ain't like before. This ain't like before. I'm stronger now. The soldier in me is gonna overcome. It ain't like before. So invincible. I'm stronger now.
So good stuff. So Love Like Gravity, if you like that, you can go grab their older EP and look forward to their new one coming out. Now, apparently, one of the big differences in their new lead singer is that his voice is not nearly as high as the previous lead singer's voice. So they have moved the tuning from a drop D to a drop A to accommodate his vocal. So it's some really low-end, crunchy guitar sounds, which apparently they had to work very hard to get. So he was pretty happy about that. But
Nice.
Anyway. Their new single, I'm sure, will start charting fairly soon. Another one is an entirely different direction. Brand new stuff from a UK hip-hop artist named Govna B. Yeah, that's right. I actually like it, though. It's good.
Hello, Govna.
Hello, Govna. I believe it's from the Scrapbook 2, I think is the name of it. But if you look up Govna B, Guvna space B, you'll find it. It's a full-length record, and it's good stuff. I love the fact that he has that UK accent in it. There's something about that I found kind of cool and endearing. And so I picked one song off of this to play a clip from. It's called In a Box, and it's produced by Black Knight, and I really like his production style. So I'm going to let you have a little taste of this, and the low end on this is so cool. Here we go.
Can't breathe what I see, though I'm a treat. I stay true to my roots, but you know I branch out, I'm a treat. I stand firm in the ground, but you know I won't leave, I'm a treat. Gotta come rain or shine, but you know I stand tall, I'm a treat. Now everybody's gagged to the beat. I listen to the words that I speak, don't put me in the box.
Yeah, Governors are right, man, but I prefer the grand stuff back in the day. You know, when he used to spit that double time flow, that was a madness.
Don't put me in the box.
I don't know. I like it. It's really cool.
Yeah, here's my response to that.
Now that's what I'm talking about. That was amazing. I mean, I can take it up. I'm buying you a pizza.
That's right.
There you go. Good stuff.
Yeah, I love the production on it. And he has several different producers, of course, in typical hip-hop style who help him throughout the record. And there's a lot of slower jams, but there's also a bunch of different styles of production in addition to just different people. Some of it's got more of a trip-hop sound to it. Some of it's a little bit more dub. And then some of it is more straightforward. But good stuff. There's like maybe 15, 20 tracks on there. It's really long, but you can grab it for free. Noisetrade.com.
Cool.
Yeah.
Always good, always exciting. Noisetrade.com.
Wire.
If only we could get them to sponsor the show.
No kidding.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I guess we should. We don't have a stew this week because we have back our good friend Tyler Larson. Well, I say he's our good friend. We've never actually met the guy, but we would like to consider him a friend. Has created, as Paul shared last week and surprised the pants off of me. That's right. 8-Bit Worship is back for Easter.
Yeah, it is.
So we have a new track that we are going to try and stump me with.
That's right, and that's not it. That's just the Easter intro.
Yes.
which I will try to use more on top of things next time. But anyway, so we're going to play yet another track that will be an older hymn that has been 8-bitized for Chris's chagrin.
Yeah.
Anyway, so last time I gave him one that I thought was kind of difficult, and it turned out we both knew the song, but just couldn't quite grab it. So I'm going to hand him this one. I think it's going to be a bit of a lob, but I'm hoping that he'll still do well with it. Here we go. See if you know this one, Chris, my good friend. Fully admit that this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like anything I know.
Okay, so are we giving up on this one?
Well, I mean, it's playing pretty much the same thing it's already played, and I'm not getting any ideas as to what it might be. So,
okay, fair enough. That is, I Know That My Redeemer Lives.
Really?
Yeah, I almost wonder if that's a mistake, because it doesn't sound like it to me.
No, it doesn't sound anything like that at all. To me.
I don't know. It's weird. It's always think, I know that my Redeemer lives and never... Maybe it's just because it's faster. I don't know, but...
Yeah.
Either that or it's totally mistitled.
Interesting. Well, I certainly did not get that. Maybe Tom or Tim figured that one out before I did, but no, I definitely did not get that out of there. Wow, I am batting 0 so far this time.
I know, it's kind of sad. I was hoping for better stuff, but
yeah. Well, no, it's all right. I mean, I don't know everything. I don't want to give off the idea that I do know everything. So, it's just the way it is.
Oh well. Well, it was a valiant effort, and I appreciate the straightforwardness of you admitting that you didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. No, I have no idea what that is.
I don't know.
Well, we are going to close out the show.
First, let me take a selfie.
Yeah, so there you go. Let me see here. We want to say thank you to everyone who has hung out with us today. We definitely appreciate that. Tom and Tim and Kirk was here for a little while. Guys, seriously, if you are able at all to come in and watch the live stream and hang out with us in the chat room, we would totally appreciate it. It is easy to find. It is ustream.tv/channel/rock-in-a-hard-place-podcast. No, seriously.
You can just find us on Facebook, and there's links all over the place.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Facebook.com/rock-in-a-hard-place-podcast is definitely the place to go. Tim says with our little thing there, he goes, having not grown up with hymns, I've gotten a whole one of those songs. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Let me see. Email once again, rockinahardplacepodcast@gmail.com. What the dash? Yeah, I agree, Tom. I agree. So I have kind of a joke, and I hope people don't take this as a racial thing. It's not. I've heard this is a true story.
Yeah, because that makes everything okay.
I'm just saying. I just think it's funny. So this girl goes to school, and the teacher's going down the list of names, and he sees this name that is LA-A.
Okay.
And so he's seriously confused. He does not know how to say this name.
Right.
So he figures out who the girl is, and he says, how do you pronounce your name? And she says, LaDasha. And her explanation is, "'Cause the dash don't be silent."
Okay, well there you go.
So, I think it's funny. So, because the dash don't be silent. So, that's why it's rock dash in dash a dash hard dash place dash podcast. Because the dash don't be silent.
We are so white. We are so very white.
Are we going to get letters about that?
I don't know.
We should probably sign off then. I don't think there's anything else yet to say. So
we're hitting the bottom of the hole.
That's it. I am Chris Cooner.
And I'm Paul Gibson.
And we will definitely catch you guys next week. See ya! Bye!